So you're new to Clionadh or you're looking to expand your collection, then this is the video for you. I have picked out 50 shades that I think are absolute winners from the brand, and I'm going to swatch them and talk about them. I've got some new shades, I've got some older shades, and I knew I wanted to include enough shades so that there'd be something for everyone. And I also wanted to mention that Clionadh will be doing a restock as well as a sale on all their stained glass shadows. And you can use a discount affiliate code to save an additional %. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my code up on the screen now. If you have any questions at all, make sure to leave them for me in the comments. First, we have the shade Luxe, and this is a Series 2 Iridescent. This has been one of my favorite iridescents from Clionadh for years now. It's such a bright and intense shade, and it's described as having a yellow, lime, turquoise, and violet shift. I will show every shade in a second lighting so you can see those shifts a little bit better. Next, we have the shade Incandescence, and this is a Series 3 iridescent, and Series 3 have even more sparkle and shift than Series 1 and Series 2. This shade has an orange, yellow, and red shift. I like a lot of the earlier iridescents as well, but I would say that as Clionadh went along, their iridescent shadows just continued to improve in formula. Next, we have the shade Lightfast, which is another Series 3 iridescent, and I would say it has a similar kind of fiery shift to Incandescence, but it has a little bit more of a pink predominance in its shift, so it has pink and orange and red and yellow, maybe a hint of green. Next, we have the shade Myrrh, and when this shade came out, it was immediately a crowd favorite. It's got a chartreuse base, and it has a really strong kind of blue-purple shift. And when you see it on the skin, it just has this incredible glow to it. If you're obsessed with the drop highlighter from Diveroon like I am, it does have a similar type of shift to it. It looks pretty on the eyes, but it makes such a cool highlighter. And I forgot to mention, Myrrh is an electric duochrome. Next, we have the shade Solarium, and this is an electric multichrome. It has a kind of sheer or semi-sheer yellow base with a strong bright green, blue, and indigo shift. I also like to include the shade because yellow shimmers in general are sort of hard to come by. Next, we have the shade Goblet. This is such a kind of warm and cozy multichrome. It has a coral base and it shifts bright gold, lime, and aqua. Also, this is one of the newer electric multichromes, and I have found in general that the newer ones are even more sparkly than the first ones that came out. Next, we have the shade Aureate, and I get so excited every single time I swatch this shade because it is definitely one of my favorites. It's a deep iridescent duochrome shadow, and it's described as having a light gray base with a really strong golden shift, and you can see just how strong and beautiful that shift is. But the gray base in this one just gives it a little bit of grunginess that I love. Next, we have the shade Niello, and this is one of the original electric multichromes that came out around 3 years ago. I also get so excited when I swatch this one because it's one of those kind of grungy shades with a really strong shift, and it's described as having a dusty purple base with a strong gold, lime, and aqua shift. Next, we have Forged Light, and this is one of the Jeweled Light multichromes, and the Jeweled Light shadows are sort of updated gray-based version of their original black-based multichromes, and the gray-based ones tend to blend a little bit easier. Forged Light shifts coral, orange, yellow, and lime. Next, we have the shade Ferric, which is a dimensional multichrome, and I love these ones because basically these are beautiful neutrals with a twist, and they have multicolored sparkles in them. They are a little bit more textured than some of the other shades, so it's just something to keep in mind. Ferric shifts rose gold, lime, and aqua. This is definitely one of the best grungy shades that Clionadh has, in my opinion. Here is what those first 10 shades look like swatched on the back of my hand. I'm going to show them in bright light and in a lighting where you can really appreciate those shifts a little bit better. I sort of vaguely tried to group these shades by color, but it's impossible because multichromes have such incredible shifts. Next, we have Burnish Light. This is definitely a crowd favorite. I feel like it's in so many people's top 10 shadows from the brand. It's very grungy. It is a jeweled light multichrome, so it has a gray base and it shifts bright copper, yellow, and chartreuse. Next, we have the shade Sterling, and this to me is basically just a very ethereal silvery mint shimmer. And if you like the shade Saltwater Pearl from the Deep Sea Treasures palette, I think you'll really enjoy this shade. And of course, I couldn't make this video and not include the shade Mural. This has been a crowd favorite since it came out. I want to say it's been 3 years now. This is one of the original electric multichromes. It has a minty green base and a really fiery shift. This is definitely the type of shade that you're going to get comments on every single time you wear it. Definite ethereal mermaid vibes. Next, we have the shade Gargoyle Light, and I have no idea how this happened, but this has crept into my heart as my favorite green shadow from Clionadh. It's another shade that every time I've done a look with it, I've gotten a lot of compliments. It has that cool gray base and a minty and light pink shift. This shade in particular has a very smooth texture, so I think it's going to work for a lot of different skin types. Next, we have the shade Vineyard, and this is one of the Earth Vibrant multichromes. It has a warm kind of reddish base that's sheer, and it has a grungy green golden shift. It also has a hint of aqua and violet. The Earth Vibrants are a category to definitely explore if you're into neutrals with a twist. I think that they've got lots of shades in this category. And next we have the Dimensional Light multichromes. This is like a dimensional multichrome except it has a gray base. And this particular shade has medium to larger size particles and it shifts pewter, lime, aqua, and lilac. Next we have the shade Citron, which is a deep iridescent multichrome. And I like to just mention that with these deeper iridescents, what's nice about them is that you get the same type of sheer base that you do with other iridescent shadows, but without any kind of white cast or white base situation. This shade has a cool taupe base and a chartreuse, lime, and aqua shift. Next we have Royal Pear. This is another crowd favorite. It's an Earth Vibrant and it's got a grungy toned green base with a pink, peach, and lime shift. And I really like this shade. There's something about it that is grungy yet while still having a little bit of a hint of brightness to it. Next we have Patina Light. It's another crowd favorite. It's a jeweled light multichrome and this one has a gray base and it shifts very bright kind of green, lime, gold, turquoise, and blue. As you can see, I have quite a few favorites in the jeweled light category. I prefer them so much to the original black base multichromes that I actually only included jeweled light shades. Next, we have the shade Calligraphy. This is a overall newer shade in the line, and it's a glitter multichrome. It's described as having a black base, and it shifts red to copper to bright yellow. Again, I think if you're somebody who's into those really kind of deep and grungy yet sparkly shades, this is a great option. Here's what those 10 shades that I just talked about look like swatched on the back of my hand. If I were to describe this particular set of shades, I would say grungy green is the theme. You do have a few kind of more brighter or pastel shades in here as well, but lots of favorites and also some hidden gems. And next we have the shade Auric, which is another deep iridescent multichrome. It's described as having a yellow tan base with an orange, peach, and yellow shift. I also wanted to mention that the newly launching palette On Top of the World has many iridescents in there that have a base pigment to them as well. I think it's just nice to have some options like that, especially for medium to deeper skin tones. Next, we have the shade Tarnish, which is another dimensional multichrome, and this one is super grungy, and it's described as having a lime green aqua shift, and it's got those multicolored sparkles in them as well. I absolutely adore the multicolored sparkles that are in the dimensional shadows, and I definitely feel like it's what make the dimensional shadows so unique. The next shade is Synthesis, which is a dimensional light shadow, and basically these are just like the dimensional shadows except they have a gray base. Synthesis is a relatively new shade to the line, and it's described as having a green-gray base with medium to larger size sparkle particles. It shifts copper, yellow, green, and it has hints of silver and aqua sparkle. The shade Orchard is an earth vibrant. It's also one that's overall newer to the line, and this shade is so special. It's very grungy, yet having some kind of bright shifts in it. It's described as having a rich forest green base that shifts bright coral, orange, yellow, and lime. Now, of course, we're getting into some of my favorite kind of dreamy blues, and we're starting off with Tessara. I've talked about this shade quite a number of times before. This is an electric multichrome. It has a light blue base and it shifts pink and violet and yellow and lime. What I like to note about this type of shade is I feel like a lot of very shifty blue shades have a green shift in them, and there's no primary green shift in this shade. It's primarily a purple and peach shifting shade. Next, we have the shade Hilt, and this is another one of the original electric multichromes. It has a light blue base and it has a really strong peach, yellow, and orange shift. This has been in my top 10 shadows from Clionadh for quite a while now, or if not top 10, pretty darn close to top 10. Rex is a glitter vibrant multichrome, and it has kind of medium to larger sparkle particles. It's got a light blue base and it shifts orange and pink and yellow and lime. Next, we have the shade Diadem, and Diadem is a glitter vibrant multichrome. It has a light blue base, maybe a little hint of turquoise in there, and it shifts pink, peach, lime, and aqua. I would say overall it has very similar vibes to Rex, maybe just a little bit more turquoise and a little bit less of the larger particle sizes in it as well. Next, we have the shade Enamel, and this is one of the glitter multichromes, and this is definitely one of my favorite shades, as you can see by the really intense dip in it. And I actually have a backup of this shade because mine is quite old at this point. This one has a semi-sheer lavender base and it shifts blue, violet, and pink. One of the reasons I really love shadows that have a semi-sheer base is that they just have a certain glow to them on the skin. Next, we have the shade Grisaille, and this is definitely one of those shades that gives the vibes of one of the very popular blue-brown shifting duochrome shades. It's described as having a semi-sheer terracotta base, and it has turquoise, indigo, violet, and pink shift. And here's what the third set of 10 shadows looks like swatched on the back of my hand. We have a mixture of grungy green toned shades and some of my favorite ethereal blue and purple shades. Next, we have the shade Oculus Light, which is a jeweled light multichrome, and this is another crowd favorite for sure. This one is giving dark siren vibes, and definitely in the best way. It has a gray base and it shifts bright emerald, aqua, indigo, and violet. Next, we have the shade Oculus Light. This is one of the dimensional multichromes, and I love this shade because it is such a dark and moody shimmer. Honestly, I've never seen a shade quite like this before. This has a sort of blackened blue base that shifts emerald, blue, and violet, and it has those multicolored sparkles throughout. Next, we have the shade Rosette, and this is a jeweled light multichrome, and it is described as having a gray base that shifts bright teal, indigo, magenta, and peach. And I included this one because I love a rich blue multichrome. Next, we have the shade Etched, which is a glitter multichrome. I love the shade for a lot of the same reasons that I love Enamel. It has a semi-sheer base. Its base color is a cool purple, and it shifts blue, indigo, violet, and pink. Blue-purple shades are forever going to be some of my favorites, and definitely why I included several options in that type of category. And it's impossible for me to make any kind of favorites video when it comes to Clionadh without including the shade Regal. This is a glitter vibrant. It's described as having an indigo base. It's got larger glitter particles and it shifts gold, lime, and turquoise. This is such a striking shade, and it's definitely the type where I recognize it as soon as I see it. Next, we have the shade Royalty, which is a vibrant multichrome. It's got a lighter purple base and it shifts pink, gold, green, and turquoise, and blue. This is another shade that's been in my favorites for years at this point. And I think you can see from the swatch that it is sparkly, but not as sparkly as Regal is. And next we have the shade Redox, which is another dimensional multichrome. I very well may have included almost every dimensional multichrome in my list of top favorites because I just find them to be such cool, interesting, and unique shades. And this shade is described as having a rich purple base that shifts lilac, pink, green, and aqua. And it has multicolored sparkles just as the other dimensional shadows do. Next we have the shade Ion, which is another dimensional multichrome, and it has this kind of deep, rich purple base, and it shifts ultraviolet, beige, gold, and it has those multicolored reflex throughout. Next we have the shade Kiln Light. This is definitely another crowd favorite. It's a jeweled light multichrome, and it has a sort of pinkish red base, and it shifts red, orange, yellow, and chartreuse. Next we have the shade Solder. This is a dimensional multichrome, and it has a blackened red base, and it shifts pink, peach, yellow, green, and it's got the multicolored sparkle in it just like the other dimensional shadows in the line. Here it is in another lighting, and these shades have grungy shifts to them. And here's what the fourth set of 10 shadows looks like swatched on the back of my hand. The vibes of these 10 shades is definitely blue-purple energy. Okay, we're in the home stretch. We're on the last 10, and we're starting off with Entropy. This is a dimensional light shadow, and it's got a pale gray base, medium to larger particle size, and it shifts cool pink, peach, yellow, and it's got hints of green and silver. This is definitely one of the lighter and more ethereal shades in the dimensional and dimensional light category. So if you like the look of the dimensional shadows, but you prefer kind of a lighter, more ethereal vibe, then I think you might like this shade. Next, we have the shade Ascension. This is an extremely cool shade. It's a glitter vibrant, and I think of it as almost like an amped up version of Opulent. It's described as having a warm purple base, and it shifts gold, lime, aqua, and it has medium to larger sparkle particles. Next we have the shade Abrasion, and this is another one of those kind of blue-brown shifting shades. It's described as having a semi-sheer burgundy base, larger glitter particles, and it shifts turquoise, indigo, and violet. And if you're wondering how this shade compares specifically to Grisaille, I would say that it has a little bit more of a cool tone to it and a little bit more blue in it than does Grisaille. They are both glitter multichromes. Next, we have the shade Sculpture. This is a newer shade in the Earth Vibrant line. It's described as having a warm gray base, and it shifts pink, pewter, lime, and emerald. A general pattern that I've seen for all of these categories where we have newer shades is that the newer ones tend to have a little bit kind of greater sparkle quantity. The shades just get a little more amped up over time. Next, we have the shade Archway. This is an Earth Vibrant. It's got a smoky plum base, and it has a peachy yellow shift to it. This is definitely one of my favorite Earth Vibrant shades in the line. It's just so fiery yet grungy, and I feel like the line as a whole is definitely underhyped. Next, we have the shade Exothermic. This is another dimensional light shade, but it's on the more kind of lighter and ethereal side. It's got a tan base with kind of a pinky peach shift to it. It has a hint of aqua shimmer in there as well. Here's what it looks like swatched in another lighting as well. Sunbeam is such a classic. It's a glitter multichrome, and this is actually the version that was reformulated because a few years ago they did update the formula of this one. It has a sheer pink base, and it's got a really strong yellow shift to it. It's also got a hint of aqua. Next, we have the shade Opulent, which is such a classic kind of neutrals with a twist day-to-day type of shade. It's got a warm purple-brown base, and it shifts orange, gold, green, and turquoise. And this is one of the glitter multichromes. I feel like there's so many hidden gems when it comes to this line in particular. Bloodline is another oldie but goodie. It's a great kind of neutrals with a twist day-to-day type of shade as well. It is a vibrant multichrome. It's described as having a burgundy base, and it shifts gold, green, turquoise, blue, and purple. Next, we have Line of Queens. This shade has quite a lot going on with it. It is a glitter vibrant multichrome. It has a cool purple base and just wait until you see what it looks like swatched. It shifts peach, yellow, lime, and aqua. I think this is another crowd favorite. And here is what those final 10 shades look like swatched on the back of my hand. And of course in a different lighting so you can see those shifts a bit better. I know we covered a lot of ground in this video, but I sincerely hope that you found it helpful. I truly believe that all of the shades that I've shown in this video bring something special, so it's just a matter of what you're looking for. With all that being said, I'd love to hear in the comments if any of the shades that I've shown are already current favorites of yours, or if you're adding any to your wish list or to your purchase list. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.